Hello and welcome to Inside Marvel Darth Vader. I'm Mike Rothman and we are here to break down the new run of books from Marvel Comics on Darth Vader, if you haven't figured out by the name yet. To do this, help us do this, we have a great team with us today. Charles Soule, he's the author of this run.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here again.
Fantastic run.
Oh, thanks a lot.
As always, Walt Hickey, jack of all trades from 538 ESPN. He does it all. Thank you for joining us.
Thrilled to be with you.
Got some folks on the horn with us today as well. One of the best correspondents in the biz, ABC News' Clayton Sandell.
Where? Oh, me. Hey, guys.
And I'm going to do my best not to butcher his fantastic name. Coming to us from Italy is artist Giuseppe Camuncoli. Did I do a decent job?
It was great. Good job. Thank you.
Okay, so... Wow. All right, this week is bananas. Charles, we were just talking a minute ago. You literally left us off at a cliffhanger. We'll get to that. Walt, we're in issue 3 right now. Can you catch us up real quick on what fans have missed if they're just joining now?
Absolutely. So in the first 2 issues, we revisit the story of Darth Vader just as he emerges from being repaired by the Emperor, right? It's his moment where he's kind of gone from being a Jedi to becoming kind of full-on Sith. But the thing is, he doesn't just get, you know, the nice cape, the epaulets, all the crew immediately. He's got to earn it. And so a lot of what these books have kind of shown us is him on the quest to get his own lightsaber back. It's him kind of building his life as you know, the Dark Lord of the Sith, you know? And in order to do so, he's got to do a couple things. Operatively, he's got to get a kyber crystal from a Jedi lightsaber and then make it into a Sith lightsaber. The issue being, they kind of ran out of Jedi a few weeks ago when they killed all the Jedi. Now, in order to get around that, he's traced down a rogue Jedi, a Jedi who's kind of taken a vow of sabbatical for a bit.
We don't know he's done. It's the
Barash.
Barash, yes, and we don't
Barash.
know he's it looks like he's atoning for past sins.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kirak Infila, is that correct?
Kirak Infala is how I say it.
Infala.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
perfect.
he's got to kill this guy who's really good at killing other stuff.
And
Right.
Kirak admittedly knows. So, before I begin, I just want to say we're live on Facebook and other social media platforms. So please send us your questions. Hit them in the comments down below. I've always wanted to do that, by the way. And Clayton's we're gonna ask and we're gonna find out.
Sure.
Charles, take us through issue 3 so far. It's very isolated, amazing issue, a lot of action. What are fans reading right now?
Well, the you know, as Walt explained, the idea is that Darth Vader has to find a Jedi. It's basically a quest that's been set him by the Emperor. So he has to find a living Jedi, has to take them down and take their lightsaber. He's had a couple opportunities to sort of find lightsabers other places. He doesn't do it because he wants to fight. And so in this issue, in issue 3, he has found a Jedi to hopefully defeat. But it turns out this Jedi is not. He's not a pushover. He's not going to be easily defeated if he's defeated at all. So this is the start of a huge. I mean, it's, you know, any Star Wars writer. I think the one thing you want to write is a huge, like, Jedi on Sith lightsaber fight.
Is
it's like
huge.
It's the you know, the brass ring of Star Wars stuff, at least for me. And so getting to design a lightsaber fight like this, or a Jedi fight, I guess, is really sort of a wonderful thing.
And for one of the first times we actually saw in there, I want to call out one thing, that the second he gets up, Kirak knows, he can sense it. He also can sense that Darth is the man who basically helped to take down all the Jedi. Mm-hmm. Darth tries to pull the old force choke, and it does not go well. For a second, he's like, nope, absolutely, and just kind of shrugs it off.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you see that force choke move used a lot in the Star Wars. It's Vader's signature move, but you never really see him use it on a Jedi. And so the idea is, you know, is it going to work on a Jedi? I don't know. I mean, apparently not on this guy. So it was fun to sort of think about the way Darth Vader's powers and moves would sort of evolve or change when he's fighting different kinds of opponents. And here, a really seasoned, tough Jedi.
Giuseppe, I want to throw it to you because you drew this amazing, and the artwork is so telling. The writing is great. The artwork is great. They mesh well together. How is it to write a character who doesn't really say a lot in this book? I think he says yes, and that's about it, when asked if he's here to kill him. Take us away. What is that like?
It was a blast, honestly. I've always been a huge Star Wars fan, as you can see. Here in the studio, we're all big Star Wars fans, so it was definitely a great thing. Like every issue is actually even better than the previous one in terms of enjoyment, in terms of challenges, of stuff to do. I'm glad to hear that the response from the readers is good, because we're definitely putting a lot into it. And personally, getting to design Kira Kinfila is kind of like as challenging as drawing Darth Vader. It's a different kind of thing. But the difficult thing on a paper is trying to make not only the characters look different, but act and move differently. So visually you can do that, but you also get a sense of that through body language and expressions and fight moves and stuff like that. So it was great, but Charles' script actually helped me out a lot because it's really brilliant. So it's really easy to visualize things when you jump from that.
And you guys seem to make up a great team, which is fantastic. And this has been a running question in the office for a couple of weeks. As with all comics, you have the usual kapow and boom. Mm-hmm. You guys have some great sound effects with the force choke and things like that. Who comes up with that? Is that you? Is that Giuseppe? Is it a combined thing?
The sound effects are in the script.
Okay.
So they're always there. But and some the letterer, the Joe Caramagno letters the book. He's fantastic, and he then designs the way they're going to look on the page and their placement. So it's a very important part of any comics design is sound effects and lettering tricks like that.
Absolutely.
But it's all. All of us. There's a whole team. Camo does the beautiful pencils, but then there's inkers, there's colorists, there's letterers, and we all work together to create the final product. And I've worked on a lot of comics for Marvel and other places, and this book, the team just feels like it is locked in from the jump, and I really am happy with how it's all coming together.
And it's an overlooked art too, because this doesn't really the whoosh, everything, it doesn't really translate as well if you don't have those sound effects. And as you're reading this book, you can feel the action happening.
Yeah. This panel that we're seeing now with Vader sort of emerging from a
Darth Moses.
Darth Moses, pretty much, was just so visceral. Like the impact of it is so there, and that's really. I wrote 4 lines about what this was supposed to be, and then you see what Camo and the whole rest of the team does to put it together.
What does that sound right there?
Whoosh. That's the sound of a bunch of water being split. And I was one thing about when I put sound effects in is I never put vowels in them because I feel like a vowel will make it feel more like a word as opposed to like an impactful sound.
That's so fascinating.
That'll make the Wikipedia page. I'm calling it. I did have a question kind of riffing off this as well. Again, Giuseppe, it's so good to have you on just because this is a super visual book. It's a character that is really iconic when it comes to the Western canon. It's a character that is notoriously not exactly loquacious here, right? It's a guy who really speaks with actions. And how has it been kind of doing the art for this action, for this character that's really just all act, very little speak?
It's amazing. I'm a huge fan of drawing action scenes. I like also quieter moments as well, but the action is really what makes my day. And honestly, in the movies, except for maybe Rogue One, you don't see so many stunts by Vader, considering except from the saber fights. So it's really great to be able and to get the chance to draw so many stunts that he can do. In comics, you can basically do whatever you want. It's easier, right? So even in issue 1 and issue 2, there are so many action sequences that were so great, to try to put on the page. And it's still like that. Like every issue, in every issue, Charles brings something up that it's, as I was saying before, both a challenge and a real pleasure to face.
This takes place a fair amount of time before Rogue One, but you can see in a lot of different ways the similar connective tissue, where you do have, on some level, the athleticism of Anakin, but you also have the mobility issues that Vader has, and kind of you can definitely see that balance in the art.
Yeah. It's sometimes it's hard to make him move, like someone who's just into a suit, like his armor is just new to him. So of course you gotta make him feel a little bit less confident than he is when he's in his older days, and that's also very hard to pull. But somehow, he's such a great fighter. He's a being of great power. He was a great Jedi before. He's becoming maybe the most powerful Sith around. So you get those two elements, and you try to find a balance between those when you draw the sequence. Actually, not only when you draw action sequences, but also when you draw him in his quieter moments when he has to talk and try to show some of the emotions behind the mask. That's also very, very difficult, quite tricky.
I want to throw it to Clayton because he's been quiet. I think he's just so mesmerized by the amazingness of this issue. Clayton, for you as a longtime Star Wars fan, we have never seen Vader like this. He is on the defensive. He's attacking, but he is not attacking well. And Kirak takes it to him. What was your first impression when reading this?
Yeah,
I was waiting
first of all,
for it.
Giuseppe, the artwork going through the book. I mean, a lot of this artwork, I want to have it on my wall. Like I want giant printouts of this artwork. It's really terrific. But yeah, it's and so soon after we see Vader go through what he went through at the end of Revenge of the Sith. And one of the things that really stood out for me in this issue, it seems to be, and Charles, you can tell me I'm an idiot, but there's a lot of use, it seems, of mythology and religious imagery here. You mentioned, the Moses parting of the seas bit, but also, in mythology you have a lot of hybrid, human creature gorgons and centaurs and things like that. And here you have Vader, who's a human machine hybrid, having to face all these challenges as he goes up the mountain. Kind of reminded me of like the 12 labors of Hercules or something like that. And then on the religion side, you have the parting of the seas. Then you have this Barash vow, which I'd like you to talk about a little bit. It seems almost like a monastic vow in a way. So I was just curious if you were drawing on any specific stories from the Bible or mythology that you had in mind when you were writing this issue?
All of it. I think of the Jedi, and the Jedi have been around. The Jedi Order has been sort of ascendant in the galaxy at this point. I mean, they've just fallen, but previous to that, they're thousands of years, and they were around. And I think of them as very monastic. I think they might not call themselves a religious order, but they really are, and the Force is kind of their guiding light. And so when you're working through a quest, sort of a mythological quest, which is what I really think Vader's attempt to get his lightsaber is, you want to draw on all the iconography of a mythological quest, all the climbing a mountain, facing challenges, parting the seas, all the things you mentioned, the idea that there are elements of this deep, quasi-religious mythology. It all just gives it that wonderful Star Warsy depth. And I mean, this is obviously George Lucas's idea from the very beginning, and I'm just playing within that or continuing that tradition. But yeah, it's all very deep and nice, and it's like really the waters are full of interesting things you can sort of pick up and play with. So it's cool.
And I just want to remind people, if you're just joining us, we're breaking down the third issue of Marvel's Darth Vader. And please, if you have any questions, hit us up in the comments section. Facebook, yeah, I love doing this. Hit us up right here. I want to talk about Kirak a little bit.
Sure.
And I want to talk to Giuseppe as well. What was it like for the two of you guys to get together to design this almost, he's just, I can't even say it out loud, he's a bad A double money sign, I guess,
sure,
I say.
Sure.
That was good, good. Like Conan the Barbarian looking kind of guy. Yep. He just, I can't say it enough, he dominates Vader in this issue.
Well, I mean, Giuseppe can speak to it. I gave some sort of basic ideas from the start, which were like I wanted him to feel immediately like a physical challenge for Vader in a way that, like, we've seen him fight. I guess we saw him fight some kind of. Most of the opponents we've seen Vader fight have been sort of hapless, sort of.
These are early sketches, by the way.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh, wow.
Those are some
That's
of the first designs.
Wow.
So I was cool. Like, here are some basic ideas, and then run with it. And as you can see, Giuseppe really ran with it. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Oh, it was fun. It was really fun. I like the fact that Kira was a really tough guy, and it had to show not only in his bulk but also in the way he was looking. For example, there was a mention of scars on his skin. Almost like he had been going through thousands of fights, and also there was already a mention of the big scar on his chest. I only came up with that shape because I thought it was, a classic result of like a saber fight, maybe a serious wound or something like that. And it would also look cool. And yeah, I guess I came up with, what?
It looks very cool.
Oh, okay, thank you. And then I came up with the idea of turning his skin gray because it kind of like reminds you of stone. So maybe someone could just think that his skin is tougher than other skins. And, the beard was already in the description and the long hair. And then I guess I came up with that ponytail kind of hair style.
Yep.
And I was just basically, you can guess, inspired by Rey from Episode 7. I just pull out, did 2 instead of 3. I don't know the term in English, but and it came out pretty nice, I think, and Lucasfilm approved it, and everybody seems to like it, so even better for me.
Yeah.
Clayton, what was your impression of Kirak? I also want to talk about one thing that I think there's a couple small things. It's a very self-contained story, but what caught me about Kirak, and it might come back to haunt him, and Clayton, I'd love you to jump in on this. He kind of takes it easy on Vader at the beginning with the challenges. The water comes rushing, and he says, no more challenges, come face me. He thinks he's got him beat, which always makes me concerned. Clayton, what were your thoughts?
Yeah. This is not a guy who lacks confidence. I had the same thought. It's like, why not unleash everything you've got on Vader when you can? But I mean, who else has the confidence to take down Darth Vader's ship with like a couple of flying trinkets going through the air, right? I mean, he's really, he's a powerful guy, and I feel like this is as much Kirak's story as it is Vader. I mean, they're almost mirror opposites of each other. Obviously, different sides of light and dark of the Force, but also in the artwork, which is great, and the design, because you have Vader who's covered in this suit of armor, half machine, and then you have Kirak, who's very, very exposed. It doesn't he's not even wearing the traditional Jedi robes. So it's a really interesting, fascinating contrast. And like Luke in the end of The Force Awakens, we see yet another Jedi hanging out on a mountain plateau. So I feel like mountaintops are to Jedi what like boxes are to cats, right?
Yeah.
A really, really great story.
Yeah.
And I want to put Charles on the spot. Sorry. Coming up with Kirak, obviously we know there's a backstory there.
Yep.
What can we expect?
Well, I don't want to spoil the very, very end of this issue. I guess we probably will, but it does not look good for Vader. It looks like he's lost pretty much, and so
he literally gets thrown. I wasn't kidding when I said cliffhanger. He gets thrown off a cliff. He gets force pushed off a cliff.
Yeah, he things do, and he's been. One of the great things about Vader being mostly machine is that he can endure a lot of damage and still kind of keep on ticking, and that's something that was very important from issue 1 through this first arc. You'll see a progression of like Vader is put through the ringer, which was very important, and Giuseppe's and everybody's done a great job of kind of conveying that. But as far as Kirak, I mean, he's in issue 4. The story's not done. There's some of those things you alluded to about mistakes being made and choices maybe that were a little ill-advised, might come back to haunt him. We'll have to see. But I want to talk about it so much, but I'm not going to, because I think this lightsaber quest, I feel like it's one of the best things I've done, not just in Star Wars, but period. And the way the reveals work, and the way that the surprises of the twists and turns of the story are too good to spoil, unfortunately. But we'll learn more about Kirak for sure. We'll understand a little bit more about that Barash vow that he took. But he's a character that I didn't want to explain too much. I wanted to make sure that everybody, it feels like there's this really rich, dense history for him, but you don't need to know it all. It's hopefully what you need to know about him is going to be on the page.
Looking at a lot of this, like we were talking earlier about how Star Wars and the language of visual storytelling, and it's just such a huge component of what Lucas was trying to do. There were a couple things that I noticed in this that were really interesting, either references to previous works in this. One of them was, again, everybody has a friend. He's got a droid hanging out with him. Everybody in Star Wars gets a friend, and in this case, Kirak definitely does have a butler, I guess, or a friend. I would like to talk a little bit about
a training butler.
Yeah,
and then,
a training butler.
The other one, was it on purpose that Kirak always had the higher ground, given the immediate issue that Vader had when he was fighting someone on the high? Yeah, that was.
I mean, absolutely. It's supposed to be. So there's the great line in Revenge of the Sith when when Obi-Wan is fighting Anakin at the end, and he's like, "Anakin, you cannot win. I have the higher ground."
Yeah, of course.
And he's like, "No,
that was a pretty good impression. That was pretty good."
Yeah. And then Anakin tries to flip up above him, and then everything gets cut off.
Vader didn't try to flip up above him. Was he? Is he learning?
Characters have to move and progress over time, right?
We've already seen growth.
Yeah. So, but yes, that's supposed to be a moment where he's realizing that I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of that's the fun of Star Wars, is that there's all these stories to draw on, all these little moments you can that whether whether you're a longtime fan, you know exactly what that's alluding to or not, it still, it still works as a moment. So, but if you are a longtime fan and you get that little in joke or whatever, it's even better.
All right, and everybody gets a friend. His droid's just kind of hanging out. Are we going to see him again?
That droid?
Yeah, it was difficult to tell how fatal the blow was.
You might see that droid again. The idea of the mountain, Pasval, is that it's a place where Jedi would go to, like, that was far away. It was a place where they could meditate and hone their skills and kind of just get away from it all. And again, this sort of to speak to something Clayton mentioned earlier, it's one of those sort of mythological challenges. Like there's a physical challenge that is a spiritual challenge at the same time. And so the droid who's on top has been there for presumably like 2,000 years. And so he's met many Jedi. He's helped many Jedi through their training and their everything they need to know. And maybe he's still around later.
And yet
maybe
Vader
not.
dispatches him pretty easily, which also shows again the great power that Vader has.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a droid's a droid, right? There's only so much they can do.
These are the droids you've been looking for.
Yeah. So yeah, but I think this is like that's one of the great. You can make up these incredible locations. Yeah. Like there was the droid, not the droid, the Jedi kind of waypost in issue 2, and then now we have this mountain, and there's more to come.
So. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask Giuseppe again about your sketches, because is there a process that you go into to kind of create? I mean, we see the final product and it's gorgeous, but I'd love to know, like, the first time the pen or the pencil touches the page, like what is your inspiration, your process behind this?
I've been doing, this job for so many years now that I'm not even realizing what I'm doing anymore. I just go at it. I don't know. I usually just do pencils. The inks are done by Cam Smith, who's an amazing inker. So I can focus on the storytelling and on the shots, which is the part that I love the most. So the first glimpse, the first impulse is trying to convey what's in the script and try to put it on the page. Not only, to give justice to the script, but also to make the best possible outcome on the page for the reader to get what's going on the page. And I send layouts first so that everybody can approve them. And if Charles has any notes or if the editors have any notes, they can tell me what to change, what to keep. And then I go on and tighten everything up. And then it's up to the inker to, put ink on it. And then it's up to the colorist to do digital coloring over it. It's a teamwork, basically.
Great. And I want to do one more around the horn. And Charles, please join in, even though you know what's going to happen.
Yep.
I want to get predictions from Clayton and from Walt. We leave off. He's been pushed off a cliff, Vader.
Yeah.
He's lost a leg. Obviously, it's not a real leg. It's a robotic leg. I don't know if he's going to tie like a piece of wood to his leg and try to like hobble back up the mountain. How does Vader come back from this? Because it's insurmountable odds, it seems like. But obviously, this is in the past. We know how this ends, kind of. So
I think he's dead. No, I think that Vader died.
That's it. That's
he's
the
just
end?
dead. That's
they're
it.
going to retcon episodes 4 through 6.
Yep.
And it's going to be
New continuity,
It's
people.
going to be Kirak in A New Hope, and not Vader.
Surprise.
No, I think it's going to be a real reckoning. I think it's like, obviously he's the baddie, but baddies can have heroes' journeys as well. And I think that at some point he's got to get that higher ground. I think that if there's one thing that we learn from Star Wars, it's the necessity of having the higher ground.
That's the one lesson.
That's
we've
the
learned
one and only
from
lesson of
to
Star
learn from
Wars.
That's it.
Always
That's
be
it.
on the higher ground.
Clayton?
I'm actually hoping that this is not the end of their battle. I mean, these two guys are such now. Kirak is instantly iconic. Vader, of course, is iconic. I'm hoping this isn't over yet. I'm hoping maybe they go away back into their corners and come back for another couple of rounds here. I don't want to see the end of this relationship yet.
I can't quit. Why can't I quit you?
Well, I have good news because the relationship is not over. We will definitely see them, in conflict. I don't want to say too much about the shape of that conflict, but they will meet again. Let's put it that way.
One page.
One page.
Yes, exactly. One page.
You heard it. Before you guys go, I want to ask, Giuseppe and Charles one last question. The reaction to this, and this doesn't happen all the time. We have to stress this. Has been nothing but positive.
Yeah, it's been really great.
The artwork, the action, the storyline, people are loving this. What is that like for you guys? Because that's just an amazing feather in your cap. It's something like,
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Giuseppe speak to it first while I kind of draw my thoughts together about what it feels like. So,
Well, when you start a new project, it's always up in the air. I worked on Spider-Man for 6 years, and when I started doing my first issue of Spider-Man, I wasn't even realizing, but I realized at the very beginning that there was, great powers and great responsibilities. So with Darth Vader, it's no big difference, actually. And it's a new toy for me. Been working for Marvel and DC, for almost 20 years now. But Lucasfilms and Star Wars universe is completely new. So I was feeling a little bit more nervous about it. But as soon as I read the scripts, I knew I was in good hands, So that made me feel safe and made me, go and try to bring my A game to the table.
I mean, for me, it's just been...
So it does not stink of darkness.
Right. For me, I just can't, I can't believe I'm writing the story. I still can't believe I'm writing the story. And I'm so thrilled. Like, you just never know. Star Wars fans are very possessive in a good way. Like, we all love it so much, and everybody kind of has a vision of what this is going to look like in their heads. And the idea that people are responding to as well as they are is really, it makes me feel great. As I mentioned earlier, I think the whole team is really doing their very best work. Everybody's locked together like a unit, and, there's more good stuff to come. What can I say?
And guess what? Did you guys know that Disney owns ABC News, Marvel, and Lucasfilm? Just want to put that out there and make sure everyone's aware of that. Speaking of family here.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, thank you guys all for being here. I could do this all day long. Issue 4 is out next month.
Yep.
We will be back with another edition of Inside Marvel, Darth Vader, of course. And for Clayton, for Giuseppe, for Charles, for Walt, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you again very, very soon.